Welcome to episode 30 of the Fingal's Cave podcast. In this episode, Ian Priston sits down with Steve Anderson, a lifelong Pink Floyd devotee with over 50 years of stories to share. Steve is the creator of the legendary Floyd Boots website, a collector's hub that has drawn more than 1 million visitors. He is also the author of Wizardo, Stories of a Bootlegger, published in 2024.
Let's dive straight in.
All right.
So the first thing I think of you for is 1974, but let's go back maybe even further than that.
Yeah.
Tell me what's your first memory of Pink Floyd?
Oh, that's quite easy actually. Well, I was 12 when I first heard them. I had a schoolmate whose dad worked at Chapel Music Publishing.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just discovering bands at that time. You know, I was listening to all sorts, see what I liked and what I didn't. And he had a one-sided test press of Medal, which was side one. He didn't have echoes, so I never heard that. But yeah, so when I was around his house, he used to play it, and I thought one of these days was absolutely fabulous.
Mm.
And then another friend of mine turned up at my house with a copy of Dark Side of the Moon, I think, and played me Money. And again, I thought, wow, that's fantastic, you know.
Yeah.
My brother didn't seem to be as impressed as I was, but
Is he older than you? Your
he's
brother?
a year older than me.
Yes.
Yeah, I just thought it was amazing, and that would have been in the summer.
So this Medal test pressing, that was kicking around in 73, or was it 71?
This would have been 74 actually.
74.
I mean, in 74 I was 12 years old, so I was in the 60s. I just listened to what was on the radio in the house. But by the time I got to 12, I started listening seriously myself and my brother, and yeah, I mean, I went to see a few bands in that summer, 74. I mean, 12's fairly young, but living in London, I was spoilt for choice, you know.
Yeah, and I guess kids back then just went for it with things like they don't now.
I mean, I was learning the bass. My brother was already playing guitar pretty well. He'd been doing it for a few years. So yeah, I mean, it was just really exciting time thinking back, you know, because the standards were so high back then, I think, compared to today.
Yeah.
In terms of everything, really. But yeah, I just found it a really interesting period. And
which bit of London were you in?
I was born in Islington, grew up in Stoke Newington, and moved to Ilford when I was about 10, I think.
Right.
Yeah, which is Essex, but
yeah,
greater London, really.
Easy to get in.
But yeah, around the time I'm talking about, I would have been based in Ilford in Essex. And there was a local place, the East Ham Granada, which is obviously an ex-cinema, I suppose. And they put concerts on. And the first one I went to was Humble Pie. That was the first gig I ever saw. I don't particularly like Humble Pie, but I loved hearing the sound of a live band.
Yeah,
you know.
loud.
Yeah, loud, and the bass was really loud. I mean, I was right at the back of I think there might have been standing seats at the back of the stalls, not seats, standing area at the back of the stalls, and but I was really impressed with the bass because I was learning it, and it was, you know, deafening, hitting the back wall. So yeah, I loved that. So I thought, I'm going to go and see as many bands as I can, you know. And the next one was Uriah Heep, who I actually really got into. But when I listen back now, I think, how did I like that, you know?
Yeah, they're not easy to
no,
like nowadays.
It's really weird when you go backwards and think about what you were really into, yeah, a band like You're Right. I mean, I every now and then I'll put them on YouTube just out of curiosity.
Bit of nostalgia.
He did have a great bass player though, Gary Thane. He was really good. But yeah, I put them on and just to try and work out why I thought they were so good. I must have seen them 3 or 4 times after that. But anyway, they were the 2 gigs that I'd seen. And I think it must have been at school one day, and my brother got offered tickets to see the Floyd.
This is 74.
74, yeah. And thank God he had tickets to see Jethro Tull at the Rainbow that night. And so I said, I'll have it, because they had a spare ticket. I said, I'll take it. And they didn't really want me to have it because they were a year above me, and a year's a lot, at 12 years old.
Yeah.
And for some reason. And anyway, I managed to get the ticket, and so I went with these other lads, and it just totally blew me away. The whole experience of it. I mean, going from a small theatre like East Ham Granada to the Empire Pool,
Quite a big capacity back then, I think.
Yeah, I think it was 8,000.
Yeah.
I think it was 8,000. And seats weren't bad either, sort of halfway back, slightly on one side.
Do you remember it vividly?
Yeah, I remember it really clearly. I even remember turning up there, and because it was sort of cold November night. It'd been raining, but it wasn't. The ground was wet, but it wasn't raining when I got there. And there were people handing out Crystal Voyager handbills. I remember.
Did you take one?
No, I don't think I did. I don't think I realised the significance of it at the time, because all I knew was money, and so I won a medal, and I thought, God, I hope they play them too. That's all I was really thinking. But the sheer size of it, and I don't know, there was always something. I mean, obviously I saw them a lot afterwards, and there was always something about Pink Floyd that even the empty stage looked exciting. I don't know why, but it just did. It was, and you didn't get that with other bands, I can't really put my finger on that.
Was the audience loyal back then? Were they?
Yeah,
Did they
they
seem
were
like
great.
they've been around
they were
for
really
years?
behind them.
Yeah.
I thought the audience were great, and I really enjoyed the gig. And I mean, the first half, I didn't know any of the material, so I'm just sat there thinking, oh God, are they going to play Money or what?
Yeah,
and, But I really liked what they did.
It's not easy to like the first half.
No, well, it's like when you buy a new album, unless it's a band that you really trust, and then it's, you'll give it the time to get into it. But it's very hard to like. When someone says, "Oh, you've got to listen to this, you've got to listen to this," it's very hard to sit there and really like it the first time. But you don't want to let somebody down either, But anyway, I just thought they were amazing. Roger Waters' stage presence, he really owned that stage for some reason.
He's quite a tall guy, isn't he?
Yeah, he's tall.
Up close.
Yeah. And I don't know, there was just something about him that you tended to watch him more than anybody else. Maybe just because he moves a bit more, Gilmour's pretty static. That Roger Waters is a bit more animated. But whatever the reason, and it could have just been that he was the bass player and I was learning to play the bass.
I was about to suggest, yeah.
So,
but he was also clearly in charge. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, he did the introductions, but he is a real presence, I think. And then of course they came back on and did Dark Side of the Moon, which I'd never seen anything like it. I'd seen Steve Marriott jumping around a stage, playing blues bass music, but Dark Side of the Moon, I mean, never seen anything like it visually or musically.
Visually,
yeah,
was
visually,
that half of it?
They were just amazing.
Yeah,
it was amazing. I mean, and it sort of spoilt me. It was very hard for me to get impressed with other bands after having seen that. I was completely knocked out by them. So anyway, after that gig,
Yeah.
I had to leave early as well, which really annoyed me. It
What,
took me
before the
years.
end?
Took me years to see Echoes from start to finish for some reason. And this one was, these lads were being picked up by their father, and they pre-arranged the time, and the gig was running late, I think. So I had to leave halfway through Echoes, just as all the dry ice was pouring onto the stage, which really pissed me off.
That's heartbreaking.
Yeah, yeah. But so I didn't get to see that, and I didn't get to see it the next time I saw them either, which I'll tell you about.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I came away from that over Christmas, and I had no money. You know, I was a 12-year-old kid, and my family weren't wealthy or anything. And but my birthday's in January, and I had Christmas, so I managed over that period to get everybody to buy me record tokens so that I could, you know, start a Pink Floyd collection, get all their stuff. And I think I got most of it. The last 2 albums I got were More and I'm a Gummer, I think. And I went in to find a copy of More. This would have been in the spring of 75. And there was a little independent record shop right at the end of Ilford High Street called Penny Farthing. And so I went in there to see if they had a copy of More, and I'm looking through the racks, and then I come across this British Winter Tour 74 bootleg, and I thought, what the hell is that? Because I knew that they hadn't put one out, you know. I was already getting really tuned into them, and I thought, what's that? So I took it to the counter and asked, and the guy said, well, it's a bootleg. And in normal conversation, what's a bootleg?
What is one?
You know? Yeah. And he said, well, they're illegal records, and if you do buy one, the quality isn't always the best, and we won't return it on the grounds of a poor recording. So really, you just have to take a chance with it. But I loved it. I loved the cover of it. I loved the fact it was laminated. I loved the fact that the band were on the cover. Because you never saw pictures of Pink Floyd, not in colour like that. I mean, you know, we had the NME, Melody Maker, Sounds, all black and white publications.
Yeah.
And you never saw colour pictures of the Floyd back then. I mean, I can see from the length of Roger Waters' hair, actually, that those pictures were taken from the French tour in June. And probably they got them from some French magazine, but I loved the pictures. I just thought the whole thing was amazing, so I bought it. And the sound quality was fine, you know.
Yeah. Perfectly okay, isn't it?
Yeah, perfectly okay. I mean, I didn't have a great stereo at home, you know, so that wasn't going to pick out any flaws in it as such. And I thought, well, that sounds pretty good to me, you know, really good. And yeah, so I loved it, and I played it to death. I loved it more than the studio albums on the whole.
So you're already drawn to the live?
Yeah, for whatever reason, maybe because I'd just seen them, but I loved the songs as well. You know, I thought those songs were fabulous. You know, absolutely up there with Dark Side of the Moon, which would, to me, had been a peak really. Once I got into them, I thought, well, that to me, that's their best. I love the Barrett stuff and all of it, but I thought that was a artistic peak. But those 3 songs, I absolutely love it, even though they were raw and you know, they were called, well, according to them, needed more working out. I actually loved them as they were. But, yeah. So I loved that bootleg, and then I played it to death. And then my schoolmate asked if he could borrow it.
Yeah.
Told this story on Floyd Beats several times, and in the Wizardo book, I think. But yeah, he asked if he could borrow it, so I said yeah. And when he brought it back, my science teacher saw it, and said, "What's that?" You know, and I had the bootleg conversation with him. He said, "Can I borrow it?" So it's quite nice lending something to your teacher.
It is. That's pretty interesting reversal.
Yeah, so I thought, okay. I said, yeah, you can borrow it. So he took it, and I can't remember how long he had it for, about a week, I think. And when he brought it back and handed it to me, he'd put the inner sleeve with the opening matching that of the outer sleeve. And as he handed it to me, it just rolled out the sleeve, landed on its edge on the hard school floor, took a big chunk out of it.
Yeah.
I was furious with him, and I told him it cost more than it did just to get my own back on it. You know, I think I paid £3 something for it. I told him it was a fiver just to earn something out of him for his crime, you know.
Yeah.
And I took it home. I still tried to play it, you know. I just lost the first third of each side, you know.
Yeah.
Listen to the end bit, which was by then all crackly and horrible because it had been all over the school floor as well.
Oh, God, yeah.
So I thought, I've got to get another copy. So I went back in there and they didn't have them.
Yeah.
Didn't have one. They said, we don't know if we're going to get any more of them. And
these things were fleeting back then,
yeah,
weren't they?
you
They
got
were there,
them.
you had to act.
Yeah, yeah. Unless there was a repress. Yeah, you had to get them as and when. So I didn't have any luck with that. In the meantime, a friend of mine, the rhythm guitarist in the school band that I was in, who also went to that Wembley show, but not with me, he bought a copy of Tour 72.
Yeah.
And I went round his house one night and heard that, and I was totally blown away with that as well.
Yeah.
Such an early version and so different to, you know, what eventually was Dark Side of Me.
I imagine you were even more impressed with that than
with
with Winter Tour.
Yeah, and he had a better stereo than me as well, so it sounded really good.
Yeah.
And
very special recording that is.
yeah, it really is something.
He knew what he was doing, Sippen did.
Yeah, really good. So yeah, I was totally blown away with that. So I thought, and that's when I started thinking, well, these bootlegs have got a lot to offer, haven't they? You know, I mean, those two alone, you know, really special. One's full of unreleased material. The other one's got a totally different version of Dark Side. I mean, that you wouldn't hear again, you know, unless somebody had bootlegged it. So yeah, I was really bold. I thought, I'm going to buy all of them. I'm going to buy everything that I see, you know. And
then it started. This is 50 years ago, of course, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And
hell of a long time.
Yeah. So then I started asking around, and you know, where can you get them? And I found a few places, and everyone kept telling me Carnaby Street, which is
yeah, of course.
You know, and
I know who you might be about to mention in that case, if you're talking Carnaby Street.
Yeah, and I went there, and by this time I was 13, wasn't I? So I bowled into the shop. You know, have you got any bootlegs? No. And you could smell the bootlegs in there. You know, the place was a tiny little shop. Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon poster on the wall, the Canadian version, I think, with the different pictures in it. And I thought, this has got to be the place, because the only other record shop in that area was a Harlequin, which was a national chain. And I knew it wouldn't be them. So I knew it was this shop. And, you know, the guy just said, no, we don't sell them. Are you sure? Yeah, we don't sell them, you know. I thought, you're lying to me. And he's apologised to me since, actually, for that.
Well, he had to say that many times.
Yeah, he explained it really well.
And in his episode, he talks about how they would send people in.
I know.
To try and catch him out.
Even using foreign accents and little silly stories. And
yeah, so you could have been the latest,
absolutely.
I suppose, couldn't you?
Yeah,
Sending a kid.
And as a 13-year-old, even if they hadn't sent me in, I would, you know, if I was selling bootlegs, I'm not sure I trusted a 13-year-old to keep his mouth shut, you know. And he was obviously feeling the pressure. So, so I think I gave it 3 or 4 months and then went back in again. Asked the same question again, got the same bloody answer as well. So that shop was a no-no, which is such a shame, you know.
Yeah.
And but I did find other places.
Where else did you go looking?
Well, like I said, there was that penny farthing one, and then they moved to the top of Ilford High Street. They were up the sort of dodgy end, and they moved premises. They're obviously doing quite well.
They went out in the world.
And they used to get raided by the BPI, and they kept them in a box, and every time it happened, somebody would scarp. They had stairs that went up to the roof, and someone would run them up to the roof and hide there on the roof with these records until they're gone.
Yeah.
And but to their credit, they carried on selling them for a while, but not out in the racks like they had done in the smaller shop. I'm trying to think where else. Petticoat Lane, there was the guy that sold them. Lee Valley Market, up by the North Circular Road. There's a guy there with a huge box of them. I bought Wish the Animals Were Here? Yeah, from him.
So it wasn't common.
No, even in London, you had to ask around and look around.
I was going to say, you go in a record shop and then I suppose they say not ask, but
yeah,
look there.
a couple of them, Small Wonder records that had the label that the Cure were first on in Walthamstow. I actually rang them up one day and said, "You got any bootlegs?" I said, "Hang on a minute, have we still got that Floyd bootleg?" So they were pretty good.
Yeah.
I bought the early tours off of them. Rock On in Camden said they carried bootlegs, but I never saw any in there. I remember Shane McGowan used to work behind the counter there, and I phoned them up and they said, "Yeah, we have them," but I couldn't see any. So I was anyway.
You were building your collection.
Yeah, I was just starting to get them and look around, and then I guess the next Floyd related thing was going to Knebworth in '75.
Oh, yeah, the Great Disappointment concert.
Yeah.
By most people's descriptions, was it disappointment for you, or
No,
you enjoyed it?
I loved it. I got there at about 3:00 in the morning. I said to my dad, he wasn't living at our house at that point, but I made him come round at 3:00 in the morning to get me there. And my dad played the saxophone and he loved Dick Parry's playing anyway, so he was quite happy to do that. So I remember getting in really early, getting really close to the front. But I had this terrible camera. I took a few photos.
I was about to say, was this the first time you tried to capture an event? Did you try and take a picture in '74?
No. I didn't even know if I was going to really like them in '74. But by the time this rolled around, I was ready for them. I was really looking forward to it. I knew that they were going to play those 3 songs again. But by this time, I loved them to bits. I couldn't wait for that. And I remember it well. I couldn't even remember the smell of Knebworth '75. Funny enough.
People often say that.
Yeah, I can remember the smell of that gig every now and then, maybe once a year or something. I'd sort of smell it again for no reason out of the blue, and it was like this mix. It was really sweet. I guess it was patchouli oil and dope, probably.
Yeah. A friend of mine describes Crystal Palace '71 similarly, and he also says there was a smell of garlic in the air as well.
There? I didn't notice that, but it was a real pungent, really heavy smell. And
big crowd.
Yeah, massive. And it was you were getting more and more cramped when we first got there. I had a lovely space, By the time they came on, they didn't have an inch, and but they were great, and I was so close, that I could see the expressions on their faces very clearly. That Jesus guy was in the audience and got up and started dancing. And saw Roger Waters smile when he stood up,
Yeah, he was ever present.
I saw him loads of times.
The 70s.
Loads of times. I think apparently he was an office worker or something.
There is a website page about him. You just have to look up.
Oh, is there?
Look up Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus UK Festivals
or
search like that. And there's quite pictures.
Yeah. I can't remember where else I saw him.
There was a guy like him who turned up on the stage at Bath 1970 as well. But
Oh,
I don't
really?
think it's the same guy.
Wow.
There's some film of that which hasn't seen the light of day yet.
Have you seen it?
I have.
Wow.
Yeah, where he goes dancing across the stage, starkers.
Yeah, I bet so.
Gets in front of the band,
Yeah.
and unfortunately the picture quality is not all that, but the whole concert has survived on film. It's one of those things that really ought to see the light of day, but legalities, as ever, get in the way of these things.
I know.
So, take you back to Knebworth. Do you remember things like the plane landing and things like that?
Yeah. Like I said, I was really ready for this one. I knew all of their material, so it didn't really matter to me what they played, but I knew it was going to be dark side, and I knew it was going to be the same format. Because I'd read reports from the American tour that had just preceded it, so I pretty much knew what they were going to be playing. I had a memory of them actually stopping mid-song. They just left the stage. Then a few minutes later he came back on and said something about the fluctuating current from the generators, and he said it keeps putting the Hammond out of tune, and we're all tuned to the Hammond, so fuck the Hammond, and we'll do it. He actually said fuck the Hammond, and we'll carry on, another way. Now I'm sure I didn't dream that, but
need to look into that a bit.
Yeah,
it seems like a pretty straightforward memory to me.
Yeah, it was, honestly. It was a bit of a messy gig, but I think Dave Gilmour said we just got thrown. It was only one PA stat was working when they first started. I think you can hear that on the bootlegs. The second stat kick in
sounds very distant.
It's
as
really
well.
vocal.
But I think people were a long way away.
It wasn't. The sound wasn't good anyway. Even when the other one kicked in, I mean it. Even at that Wembley gig, the sound wasn't that great. They had a reputation for sounding fantastic, and I remember sitting there and hearing when Shine On started and Nick Mason came in, you could hear the toms bouncing off the back wall.
Off the back, yeah.
And it was a complete mess to listen to, that bit.
Limitations of the venue, I suppose.
And I didn't come away thinking, oh, they sounded great, what a great mix. And Knebworth was even worse, really. I don't think the PA was up to the job,
No.
Because I saw Genesis at Knebworth, I think that was 78, wasn't it? 3 years later. And their sound was unbelievable.
Right.
And it was a windy day, so that occasionally the sound got blown away and then came back again. But the actual sound quality, the bass, everything was near perfect, I would say.
Which is what Floyd's reputation
Yeah,
was.
it was, but that was a woeful attempt, I think, Knebworth. But I enjoyed it anyway. I mean, I liked seeing them there. And a couple of funny things happened, because it was all peace and love, And when the Floyd came on, people started standing up.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we were, like I said, really near the front, but it was the people in front of us. My old man was in his mid-30s by then, and he wasn't full of peace and love particularly. And so the people behind us started throwing cans and bottles at the people that were standing up.
Yeah.
And someone threw a what is Party 7, probably full of piss because it had liquid in it.
Yeah.
Threw that at the crowd, and it hit my dad on the back of the head. He went nuts. He turned around, he was trying to see who threw it, and he picked on someone who was throwing something and warned them. He said, "You do that again, I'll fucking kill you." And that was how it started. And by the end of it, he was throwing up from that smell. He was physically being sick. And I said, "Look, and he had to drive us home." I said, "Oh, we'll go, shall we?" And that was just again when the dry icing echoes.
I was going to say, you have bad luck with the ends of concerts at this point.
Walked back to the car. I could hear it in the background, disappearing on the way to the car park. So I never got to see the finale of that one either. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. Just seeing them, because by that time, they were heroes to me, And I carried on seeing other bands, but I saw Tangerine Dream at the Albert Hall, I think January 75. Bored the shit out of me. They really did. I mean, three guys, you know, there was nothing, no lights, no nothing, just this pale blue light on the stage. And it got to the halfway mark, and I thought, God, they've not even changed chord, you know. It was just one endless load of nonsense to me. And there's no emotion in that krautrock stuff to me anyway, you know. I like to hear a band gelling and...
Bands like Can, they did well.
Yeah. But your Kraftwerks and Tangerine Dreams, they just don't do it to me. And I like to hear drums and bass and energy, you know. And that one, I mean, they got halfway through, took a break, and half the people left thinking it was the end of the gig. And then some bright spark came out onto the stage and said, can you please, all of you, stop taking flash photography because it's putting them off. I thought, putting them off? Christ, I've only played one chord. You know? And so I wasn't impressed with them.
No.
Then I saw Hawkwind, like a scaled down version of the Floyd. They had video behind them.
Yeah.
And I thought they were all right, but like I said earlier, that sort of spoilt me really. You know,
yeah,
that
take you to a level.
It's different class. You know.
So going back to cameras, you mentioned you had one there at Knebworth. Did you took some pictures?
I did.
Have you got them still?
No, I've got one picture of the Steve Miller Band that looks like I'm 100 yards from it, and I'm so close to it. It's just crazy. I mean, that was the other thing about Knebworth. I'm not a big Steve Miller fan, but Roy Harper, Beefheart, you know, it was great to see them as well. Because this is all stuff that I was seeing for the first time. So, yeah, that was great. Post Knebworth, I just carried on collecting bootlegs, you know, and waiting for Wish You Were Here to come out.
Yeah.
Which they mentioned in the programme for Knebworth.
Were you listening to the radio at the time as well?
Yeah, I used to listen to
John Peel,
Nicky Horne on Capital Radio. He was great because he did the Pink Floyd story thing.
76, 77.
Yeah, which I recorded all of those.
Yeah, that was quite a series, that was, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really good. But nothing like it at the time because they opened up a fair bit to him, you know. And
arguably nothing since, in many respects.
Yeah.
Anybody writing a book needs to go to that first, basically, don't they?
Yeah. It was really good. I mean, I had recordings, you know, the really early Interstellar.
Yeah. CBC recording.
Yeah, that's it. I loved it.
Bernard and Mick went along to the Capital Radio studios and managed to come away with a copy of that.
Really? Well, they did well. I won tickets to see the Animals tour on that Nicky Horne show. They also did an event in Battersea Park years later, and the Floyd gave him the pig that they hung from a tree. And he did a live, I think his show was called Your Mother Wouldn't Like It. And he did a live show from Battersea Park with the big black wall pig hanging from a tree. I went there, got drunk, listened to him whittering on. But it was great, it was really good.
Did you learn some musical taste from John Peel as well? Were you a regular
I wasn't
listener?
that regular a listener, and he was so all over the place with what he liked. And,
he did follow the trends, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
And set them, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, he got to play Animals before Nicky Horne, didn't he? Even though he had the exclusive interview. You know, I think Peel played it the night before, all the way through. Which used to matter to me back in the day because I couldn't wait to hear anything new, you know. I won a copy of Animals as well off the same radio show, Nicky Horne, and it really bugged me because it took him about a month to send it out to me. And I wanted it, you know, really, but I thought, well, I'm not going to buy it because I've got a copy of it, you know. But I had to wait a month and listen to just a really shitty cassette copy of the radio show until it turned up.
You got it? Have you still got it?
That particular copy, no. You see, when I left school, I thought I'm going to be a musician. That's the be all and end all, you know.
Bass guitarist still?
As a bass player, yeah. And so I was, even though I went to a grammar school, I paid little attention to it. And my mother used to argue with me, you know, you should be working harder. But I thought, no, I'm going to be a rock star. You know, what do I need O-levels for? You know. So I left school as soon as. This is an example of how liking one band actually can change the course of your life. And so the drummer in the band that I was in worked for a shipping office, and he was of the same opinion as me, you know. And he was a couple of years older than me. He said, I just got a job in a shipping office. It's easy, it's you know, stress-free, and it's less boring than working in a bank. So when I got to see my careers officer when I was leaving school, I said, I want to work in shipping. So he immediately got me a job by Tower Bridge, with a shipping line, and then they moved out to Leytonstone, which meant that there was an old guy that used to go and get all the customs forms stamped at Tower Bridge, or very close to it. And whenever he was off, they used to send me as the youngest guy in the office. And I loved it because it was an afternoon out the office.
Little trip, yeah.
And I wandered around the West End and looking for bootlegs, more than likely. And then, so one day he didn't come in for whatever reason, and they sent me, and I was standing on the train station at Leytonstone, and there was a newsagent kiosk actually on the platform. And I was looking through the magazine covers, and there was a record collector there, really early one. This was the really early days of the record collector. And the cover stars on it were Pink Floyd. So I thought, I'm going to buy that. And I'll read it on the train. So I bought it, and then, you know, it was just about all the collectible Floyd records. And also in it was a list of the 50 most valuable records, and or 100, or whatever it was, I can't remember now. But I had some of them at home in my what my dad had left behind, you know.
Yeah.
And just a few, but it just got my brain thinking. And then later that year, I got made redundant. And I thought, I'm not going to go back into that, you know. Because all my travels looking for bootlegs. I used to go to Camden Market and Portobello Road. But at Camden, there was a guy that I got to know really well, actually. And I thought, look at the people looking through his stuff. I mean, he's making a living out of that. You know, I could do that.
Yeah. And some did.
And so I did, yeah. And but if I hadn't bought that record collector and realised that some of these things were making seriously good money, you know. And if the Floyd hadn't have been on the cover of that magazine, I wouldn't have bought it. Yeah. So it actually changed my career path, you know. And apart from one very brief stint, I've never worked for anybody else in my whole life, you know, because I don't like it.
You didn't look back?
No, I didn't look back, really. I mean, you know, I wasn't wildly successful, but at least I managed to get through it all without taking orders from anybody else or having to get up at the crack of dawn.
So what did you do next? Tell us what you did.
What, after that?
Well, music-wise, work-wise.
Work-wise? Well, no, I stuck at it for I was in Camden Market 2 or 3 years.
You had a stall?
Yeah.
Whereabouts in Camden were you? For anybody who has memories of Camden.
If you come out of the station and turn right, you've got the lock and the stables further down on the left. But before that, there was a market pretty close to the station.
Did you have to go down the slope to get to you? Do you go over the bridge and then down the
No,
slope?
you didn't cross the bridge.
Didn't get as far as the bridge?
No, it was up
in
100
that
yards
market
up from the station.
Oh, that market area there.
Yeah. It's where
still there.
Bernard White had his shop at the basement at the back of it.
Yeah.
In that Georgian-looking building.
Mm-hmm. I remember seeing him there.
Yeah. He was great. He gave me a lot of help. Because if I got stuff that I wasn't sure of its value and I took it to Bernard, he'd give me an honest value for it. You know, he wouldn't try and buy it off me cheap, which other dealers would have done. He was always really good to me, but he knew me anyway. First time I met him, I was in the West End and there was a market called the Soho Open Market. Mm-hmm. And I was wandering through the market looking for bootlegs, and I noticed that there was a rack on the side of the stall, because they were only like market stalls, and it was full of terrapins. And I'd heard about this terrapin magazine, but I'd never actually seen one. You know. So I went up and they were silly money, like pennies each, you know. And I said to Bernard, can I have one each of those terrapins? And he gave them to me for free. I think he was so chuffed that somebody at my age
interested. Yes.
Was, you know, discovering Barrett for the first time. So he sort of took me under his wing a little bit. He was really nice, really, really nice.
He took me under his wing as well.
Yeah.
So
he was such a kind guy.
I first saw him as a teenager.
Yeah.
I must have been about 15, 16.
Yeah.
And he used to call me young man.
Yeah.
And he introduced me to anybody in his shop.
Yeah.
I saw him in several places around London. He said, this young man likes Pink Floyd and rather likes Syd Barrett as well.
Yeah.
He was always very jolly and quite
he
posh,
was. He had a weight, you know, real individual guy he was. I really liked him. I always thought he was a bit vulnerable though, because he was highly strung.
And he certainly turned out to be vulnerable, sadly, didn't he?
I know.
Yeah.
You could see that he was very highly strung. I mean, I got to know his partner because they bought that shop, or they rented that shop that belonged to the Harry Krishna's just behind Oxford Street.
Is this the Luigi and the Boys?
No, it was the Vinyl Experience.
Oh, Vinyl Experience. Oh, that one. Yeah.
And from what I remember, Soho Open Market, I never really spoke to him, but I think his partner there was Mark Hayward. But Bernard was great, and he started telling me about bootlegs that I'd never heard of, because this was pre-Hot Wax. So I didn't really know what was out there, and I remember sitting down with him at the Soho Open Market, which didn't last long actually. It's long gone now. And
so Bernard was very well connected, because he knew Derek, and
he seemed to know everybody.
He knew Mick.
He gave me a copy of that Festival Hall tape and an Albert Hall tape that he probably got copied from the other guy, and they were always just one channel only. He had some archaic equipment.
Oh, he always had bad recorders.
Yeah.
And he used to choose the cheapest, worst blank cassettes and reels.
Bless him. Yeah.
It wasn't his forte, was it? You always had to borrow if you wanted to do anything with Bernard.
Yeah. But he was so kind, you know.
I just mentioned, do you remember him having anything else on tape? Because sometimes there's a recording that I've been on the lookout for years that I believe Bernard said to me that he had at one point, which was Parliament Hill Fields. You don't ever recall him having that on tape, do you?
No. The only ones he mentioned to me, actually gave me copies of.
Right. So Royal Festival Hall, Royal Albert Hall, 69.
They were the ones that he gave to me, I think.
You don't still have them by chance, do you?
No, they're long gone.
Ah.
But they were pretty... Oh, and I think he gave me a copy of The Committee as well. Pretty sure he did.
That would have been later on, I suppose, wouldn't it? Because
this was when he was in Camden Market.
Yeah, he went to see it at BFI, didn't he?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So you could go and see it at BFI and watch the old 16mm version of it there.
Well, he told me actually that he rented it. That he rented the movie.
Yeah, you could if you explained to them back then that you were part of some sort of educational institution or you ran a film club.
Yeah.
They would quite happily make a copy for you.
Wow.
And a number of people caught on to that.
Yeah.
So a friend of mine in America caught on to that, and he had one sent to him in the post.
Great.
Of the committee.
Yeah.
The music probably survives from that as well. That's another one that I would dearly like to get my hands on. Nobody actually has it, but somebody is known to have had it.
Did anybody ever get the proper version of Seabirds?
I don't think so. Not heard of that. No.
It's really annoying, isn't it? Though?
It is. Yeah. You'd have thought that would have come out in the 2016 box set. That's what everybody was thinking, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No.
They even put it on the. They even mislabeled it.
They did. Yeah. Promising people something. So I didn't know you had a stall there. I know you went on to do record fairs, but you filled in a gap for me.
The gap was
that you had this stall in Camden.
I had the stall in Camden. Then I was ill and I had to go to hospital and have an op and a bit of recovery. And the guy that the manager of the market just gave my stall away, despite saying that he was going to hold it for me till I got back. You know, and it was quite a serious illness. So I thought, okay, and I just turned up there, you know, one day to reclaim my stall and to be told no. And I think he'd left by then as well, or he was about to leave, I think. But anyway, they took my stall off me. I couldn't get it back, so I had no choice. But luckily, record fairs had just started to really take off.
Yeah.
So it was just a switch. And
so where would you go to record fairs? I think you did them in Brighton, didn't you?
Brighton a lot.
Yeah.
How do you know that?
Because you met my friend Bruce there.
Oh, really?
Who sends his best wishes.
In a moment, we'll resume our conversation with Ian Priston and Steve Anderson. We wanted to take a moment for a gentle reminder that, if you enjoy these podcasts, please do hit subscribe on whatever platform you prefer, such as Apple Music, Amazon, Spotify, or YouTube. And now we return to the conversation, which picks up just after Steve explained to Ian how, in the pre-internet 1990s, he learned Syd Barrett's home address.
So I decided, right, I'm going to drive up there and look at the house, you know, 6 at Margaret Square. And then my girlfriend, who was Dutch and pretty forward, didn't mess around, said, I'm going to go and knock on his door.
Right.
Try and get his autograph.
So you went up there on a weekday or a weekend?
Yeah, I went up there on a weekday. And I didn't realise it was a cul-de-sac. So, and the neighbours really were quite protective of him, you know. And if you pull down there, you've more or less got to turn around in front of his house.
Yeah.
And there was a couple of them out there, you know, looking at us like, what are you doing down here, you know? I could feel it. Anyway, I pulled out and went back onto the main road and parked up there for a minute. And my girlfriend went. Yes, I was torn. I was a bit nervous of approaching him because I didn't know what his mental state was. But I was also aware that I didn't really want to disturb him either. But I thought, well, she's her own person. It's up to her if she wants to do it. But I did actually warn her. You know, he might be pretty fragile mentally. It might not be pleasant. She said, no, I'm going to ask him anyway. So she went and asked him, and he answered the door and said, and she said, you know, I've come from Holland and that, and could I get your autograph? And he said, no, I'm too busy, and he closed the door on her. But she said he looked terrible. His face was completely white, like white powder on his face. Anyway, so we got nowhere, and I think about 6 months went by, and And she said, I want to go back there, I want to try again. So I said, all right. So drove back up there, and she said, I'm going to ask if I can buy a painting off of him.
Very forward.
So I thought, all right. So I drove it back up there again, and I went down the cul-de-sac again. I don't know why, but he was standing in his front garden eating an apple. So I did actually get to see him, although I didn't speak to him. And he really did look awful. He was covered in white powder, except for his eyes.
What do you think he had that on his?
I don't know,
eyes?
but I saw it myself, you know.
Yeah.
So like Uncle Fester, you know.
Like maybe he had some idea it was some medicinal reason or something like that.
Who knows?
His skin was uncomfortable, so he put that on.
Who knows? But that was twice. She saw him, and twice he had it on, and I saw it the second time.
Roughly what year was this?
Oh God, it was early 90s, I would have thought. Shaved head still, shaved eyebrows, I think. But anyway, yeah, so I parked the car and she went back there, and she came back white as a ghost, and she said, I'm never doing that again. And
What happened? Yeah.
I said, why? What happened? And she said he'd already realised that I was coming, and as I knocked on the door, he opened it immediately. I can't really remember the conversation. She said, could I buy one of your paintings? And he more or less screamed at her, no, and slammed the door in her face. I'm not sure I think he said something else, but I can't really remember anymore. But he was really less than happy to have someone want to buy one of his pictures.
Yeah. Were you glad you weren't with her?
Yeah, I am, because he was a hero of mine as well, and that would have busted the myth for me, possibly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad. And that was it. We never went back again after that.
No.
I didn't want to bother him, and I didn't want her getting in more grief or whatever, from him. But that was that adventure. Yeah. Trying to think what else there was. Well, that was it really. I carried on buying my bootlegs. By this time, Bernard had told me about one called Crackers, which was the Hollywood Bowl.
Yeah.
And he said there's another one called Pictures of Pink Floyd, which is really, really good.
Yeah.
He said, but it's very difficult to find. I don't know if you'd be able to find a copy of it. I've got them now. It only took me 50 years.
Yes.
And I've got them now.
Very expensive items now.
Yeah. Yeah, some of the early ones are fortunes now. Walter's Gate, and I've got that as well now. I used to dream about these bootlegs, and I never had the money. Well, I never found them. If the guy, I know that Walter's Gate, one of the holy grails, was sold out of that shop in Carnaby Street. And of course they wouldn't sell me any, so otherwise I might have been able to buy a copy when it first came out. But yeah, so Bernard told me about those two, and he said they were really strong performances, because although he was a total Barrett freak, he would begrudgingly admit that they could be quite interesting without him,
But he would always get rid of something post-Barrett for something Barrett in a trade, wouldn't he?
Yeah. He was the only, I was told that, I think, on the Facebook group, but he was the reason for the only time I bought a bootleg and regretted it, which was, and I can't even remember what the bootleg was, which is really annoying, but I went down in his basement one day in Camden, and he had Emily Play English promo picture sleeve on the wall, and I think Arnold Lane, 50 quid each.
Good price.
Yeah, I mean, at the time, it was, although that's back in the 90s, it was a giveaway, it really was.
Yeah. But
I had it in my head so much that I wanted to buy this bootleg and I only had X amount of funds. I bought the bloody bootleg instead of the promos. I should have known better, really, but you live and learn. Bernard had great stuff pass through his hands because he was so well connected.
Mm. Well, he'd advertise in the newspapers, wouldn't he?
Is that what he did?
How he got some of his stuff, yeah.
Did he know Andrew King and Peter Jenner? I've got a feeling he did.
He got to know them a little bit, yeah. That helped.
Yeah. Yeah, he always seemed to have stuff that...
He put a lot of time into it before people did, and before people had the ease of the internet.
Yeah, exactly. Pre-internet days.
Yeah, you put an advert in a paper or in a magazine and you hope that somebody's going to come forward and take an interest.
Well, it's a bit like the tapes, you know. And that was another reason that people were obsessive about the bootlegs, because nowadays you just log in and, you can download anything from anywhere.
Actually,
back then it was an absolute treat, to discover anything, unless you were in tape trader circles, which I certainly wasn't.
No. And Mick and Derek both spoke a little bit about tapes and how there was another world, for want of a better expression, where people were exchanging tapes and selling tapes as well, instead of selling vinyl. And Camden became very well known for tapes.
Camden became the epicentre of it, I think.
Yeah.
Even I did that for a bit. I started...
What, the colourful... Were you part of the colourful sleeves and...
Yeah, mine were all amber with... I sold some Floyd ones, I remember. But there were people out on the high street, huge stalls full of them.
Racks of them.
Yeah. I wasn't like that because I was more interested in rare records and second-hand records. But I did build a rack that held a few hundred.
Yeah,
and
it's a cheap way for teenagers to pick stuff up.
Yeah, and it's an easy money spinner when you think about it, I mean, you could buy one of those Panasonics that tape to tape.
Yeah.
You don't even have to be there. You just press, go and have a bath, and it's done when you get back.
Do you remember where your tapes came from back then? Where you were? Because some of them have turned out quite good over the years. Stuff out of Camden.
I can't remember. I think I've just bought them off of other tape traders, so mine certainly wouldn't have been, at the top
Nothing
of
special.
The purest. I certainly didn't have any exclusive sources or anything like that. But I made a few bob out of it back in the day,
So we were reflecting on how you went to Knebworth, of course, and I imagine the next thing you went to was Wembley 77, where they played on the 15th, the 16th, the 17th, 18th and 19th, 5 nights.
5 nights. I went to 2. One night, I still think it maybe it was 3, I'm not sure. But I won tickets. A friend of mine who was the guy that also saw them in 74, the rhythm guitarist in the band I was in. His dad worked for Daily Mail or one of those broadsheets type papers. And he got 2 complimentary tickets. One night I was in the second row, right in front of Dave Gilmour, and the other night I was a bit further back. I can't remember where the second row tickets came from. I think it's possible I went 3 times, but I definitely went on the 16th and the 19th. And those shows were just amazing again. I mean, they were...
Tell me you got to see the whole show this time.
Yeah, this time I got to see it, but they dropped Echoes, so I never got to see the original lineup.
Yes.
Do the second half of Echoes, which to this day bugs me, but can't change it. The Animal shows again. I mean, I remember walking in and going down to the front of the stage to just look at their equipment because it was all out there,
Do you have a camera with you?
No. I know I should have done.
Yeah.
And, I'd really got into the whole Animals thing. I even, had a little trip to Battersea Power Station to have a look around it. And on one of the walls, they painted animals. It was actually in the tour programme as well, I think. But there was this really old wall on Vauxhall Bridge Road or whatever it was, and animals painted. And I actually took some brick away with the paint on it. That's how obsessive I was at the time.
Yeah.
And
good for you.
Yeah.
You didn't photograph that either, I don't suppose, did you?
No. And the funny thing is, there is a photograph of me on that day that I've still got. So why I didn't take a picture of the war, I don't know. I really don't know.
It's all hindsight, isn't it?
Mind you, I'm nowhere near as guilty as the Floyd, who never actually filmed one of those shows properly, you know. And they had the resources and the money to do it. Why? And even when they finally did record a whole, you know, film a whole gig, we've never ever seen it. So, you know, they're pretty guilty, more guilty than I am for not taking a few photos. You know, bootleggers can't do everything for them, can they?
No, they can't.
And they've certainly relied on them, you know, they really have.
Yeah. They take a bit of a dim view of bootleggers generally,
don't
they?
I take a bit of a dim view of their attitude to bootleggers, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all that stuff, you know, pictures of Pink Floyd, you know, going back to that.
Yeah.
You know, you've got this amazing improvisation that only exists because somebody turned up with a tape recorder.
Yeah, and made a bloody good recording.
Yeah, made a
as well.
fabulous recording of it. I mean, it's even better now, you know, that reissue of 1 and 2 as a double set. You know, I got a copy of that and it's fantastic.
People have spent time fixing it up. Had some problems with speed
before, it was
didn't
massive on the original. That was the only letdown, the fluctuation. But I know the guy that put that together, and all credit to him, you know. All credit to him, did a great job. Yeah, so where were we? Animals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You enjoyed those
concerts.
concerts.
Those shows were unbelievable.
It's not really a fair ask, but better than Knebworth, better than 74?
No, I wouldn't say so.
No.
They were all
for me, they
in
are
their own way.
77, I'd rather be at a 77 concert
Yeah,
than those
you're
two
a 77
guy.
guy.
I quite like 77.
Yeah.
But then I've kind of left them at 74 and 75 a bit. I think I would have felt differently if I'd have been there. I was too young. I was born in 71. So I had no chance. My first chance to see them was in 88.
Yeah.
Which was well after the moment, of course, wasn't it?
It was. For me, anyway.
Yeah.
A lot of people, you know.
A lot of people love it.
It was their first experience of them, and it meant as much to them as the earlier ones did for me, I'm sure. But for me, the magic had long gone by then.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the show. I went to quite a few of them. I saw them...
Wembley, I expect.
No, I saw them at Docklands. I went every night, I think.
89, that was,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually managed...
I didn't go to those.
I watched them rehearse it as well in the afternoon. Because it was only up the road from me where I was living at the time. And somebody had tipped me off that... Because it had only just been turned into a venue. You might have to edit this bit further later in the conversation, but they just... I think Frank Warren had bought the building, the boxing promoter, or someone had bought it off of him, I can't remember. And the Floyd gigs were coming out and they didn't have the staff to the security. And someone said to me, I can't remember who it was, all you got to do is walk in there, because they're hiring. Walk in there in the afternoon while they're rehearsing and just say, I want to apply for a job at security. And they say, go up to the first floor.
Yeah.
And so they'd send you up there and then you just deviate and walk into the arena.
Yeah.
And sit there and watch the whole thing, you know.
Just be confident. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that went on.
Yeah, absolutely.
My friend Greg was doing that in 1970.
Wow.
He made up his own press pass, which got him into the pit at Hyde Park.
Really?
Yeah. It's audacity, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Look like you belong.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
And you're okay.
Yeah. I'm all for that. I'm all for that.
And then Mick did that in America.
Yeah.
He followed them around and ended up being road crew.
That's right. Yeah, I heard that. Yeah. Yeah, someone told me about that. Because he felt a bit guilty about his previous activity, I think, at one point. Yeah, so animals.
77.
Yeah, I remember walking in there, went straight down the front of the stage, looking at that amazing drum kit of Nick Moses with that Japanese painting on it. And the whole thing, the amps were all behind black net, some kind of black screening, I think, certainly the back line.
Better sound.
And it just looked so classy. The screen was there waiting to go, you know. I knew that there was this enormous pig going to fly out somewhere down during pigs. And yeah, the whole thing, it was much more together than Knebworth and Wembley, I would think. Especially if you read In the Pink, a fantastic book about it, 74.
Yeah.
Nick Sedgwick.
Become very hard to find, that book has now.
Is it?
Yeah, it's become very expensive.
Oh, I've got one upstairs.
You needed to buy a couple at the time.
Yeah.
Because they were for sale. Did you go to the V&A exhibition?
Yeah, that's where I bought it.
That's where I bought mine.
I never seen it before then.
There was a bloody great pile of them there. And I look back on it now, it's like one of those hindsight moments again. If I'd have bought a dozen of those, what
are they making now?
About 120.
Are they?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think it's a fantastic book. I really do.
Yeah, it's
up there
rare insights.
Yeah, amazing. Up there with the best of them, you know. Yeah, I think I've still got it. I've got yeah, I have. I've got the tour schedule for it, an original copy that was given out to the crew of who's sleeping in a double bed and who gets a single bed and how they're going to get to each gig.
Did you get that at the time?
No, I got
it in later years.
Yeah, I got it in later years. I think it was a guy I worked at. I'm not exactly sure. There was a load of press photos. I'll show you them later if I can find them. Load of press photos, the tour schedule, and a telegram from Harvey Goldsmith to the Floyd for the opening Wembley night. Really looks old now, you know. I love it. And it just says, "Good luck on the first night, boys. You know, we're making the pyramid sign for you," or something like that. I can't remember exactly. But yeah, that was in. I thought, I've got to have that because that's a real piece of history.
It is.
And that was the first tour that I saw. So yeah, so Animals. Yeah, it was just faultless. It was faultless. You know, the performances were really tight. The sound was a lot better. It was a lot louder.
Yeah.
They cracked. You know, they'd gone up to number 11 on the Animals tour compared to the two previous that I'd seen. Clearer. Yeah, it was just great. Absolutely great gigs. I mean, I'm sure anyone that's listening to this has heard. You know,
heard the live recordings.
Yeah. Yeah. Flawless.
So before we move on to other things, 1980, I expect you were there as well. 80 and 81.
Yeah,
Did you go
the
to
wall shows. I think I went to all of them bar one. I think.
Wow. You were completely committed by that stage.
Yeah, and
you got a bit bored going to all of them.
I didn't get bored at all.
No?
I mean, I know that you've basically seen exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
And I did miss that. You know, the wall, by the time they got there wasn't any improvisation. You know?
No, it'd all gone.
And I mean, the Animals tour sort of had a few extended solos.
But Snowy White helped.
Yeah.
It?
Snowy White was great. But yeah, I mean, those Wembley shows, if you go back to the original Gotta Be Crazy, and the section where the second guitar solo is on the actual Animals album, if you listen to that, they're doing sort of high falsetto vocals like they did in the non-orchestra versions of Atom Heart Mother. I mean, you could be listening to 1970 Floyd there, and that's post Dark Side of the Moon.
It's an interesting connection you make there.
Yeah, and I love that, you know. And for me, that was like the last time they really let go. And Rick Wright's playing on that 75 tour. When you listen to the bootlegs from America, I mean, they're a fantastic move playing. You know, I'll take him over Rick Wakeman or Tony Banks any day. You know, he might be less technically proficient, but God, he had taste. You know, there's not one Floyd track that sounds dated because of his choice of keyboards. But you can't say that about Tony Banks. You know. No. And the way he bent the notes on that move, I just thought he was absolutely flying in 75. Thought that was his time, you know. So underrated.
Yeah, things had started to go wrong by 77,
yeah,
hadn't they?
I mean, I remember that, because the nights that I went, I could probably work them out by the fact they never did Money as an encore. They just did Us and Them. And on the shows that they were enjoying, they did both. So I don't know whether I went to two nights that they considered not as good as the others, but maybe. I remember Roger, clearly they were doing Us and Them, and Roger Waters walked over to Rick Wright as if to say, do you want to do Money? And he shook his head, and they left the stage and never did it, you know. I'm sure Rick Wright called that, although I can't imagine why Roger Waters would ever take orders from Rick Wright at that point, but it looked like he was saying, no, I don't want to do anymore.
Don't think anybody's noted that before, but that's a good point. So we've gone through bootlegs, we've gone through some of the names, you know, and we've gone through.
So we're on the wall.
The concerts, the wall, yeah.
Well, I've changed my opinion about the wall a bit. I was thinking about that this morning.
Over the years.
Yeah. And at the time, I really bought the whole thing. I really bought into it. I thought it was fantastic. And I still do in loads of ways, but I can't help thinking that side 4 of the wall is running out of energy. I think that the whole concept ran out of energy by the time they got to side 4. And I mean, people going about Run Like Hell, I'm not particularly keen on that track.
I don't know why they kept playing it.
Yeah, I'm not keen on that.
No.
To me, I don't know, it's just not got the magic, and
that's where they ought to have ended. Is my opinion.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
1981. Stop.
Yeah. I thought they would. I was amazed when the Tigers Broke Free came out afterwards. I thought they were going to stop there, but that was an outtake anyway, wasn't it? But I mean, the wall shows were phenomenal, you know, and I did buy into it. I absolutely loved it at the time. It's only now I wouldn't play the last section. No, not in full.
Never get there.
I think the first album's great. Side 3's pretty good, and then it just sort of runs out. I like the trial a lot, just from the vocal performance. You know, it's quite good fun to listen to, and the pastiche of the orchestra and courtroom, but. Not really. I don't think it's lasted as well as the mid-70s stuff.
No. No, I have.
But the shows were just the shows were out of this world. I mean, you never knew what was. Well, I did once you've seen it once, but
it was the spectacle.
Oh, it was ridiculous,
and the scale
for its time. I mean, you know, they can do a lot more now, but then, you know, we're decades down the line. But in its day, it was just ridiculously ambitious, and to pull it off like they did, it was flawless every night I saw it. Flawless. And yeah, I was so impressed with it. And like I said, I think I went every night bar one on those shows. I loved them. And the great bootleg came out as well. There's a bootleg that's just got the crossed hammers on it. I think it got repressed as and the walls came down, but the original issue was just a black sleeve with that great hammer logo. And I got a copy of that, and that was really good boot. But yeah, there's not much I can say. I mean, everyone knows about the wall shows.
They do.
And yeah, they were great.
So talking bootlegs now. I think I prepared you a little bit on this one. Your favourite 5 bootlegs.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
and I've not done my homework.
This is a Desert Island Discs moment.
Well, I'm going to wing this a bit.
Yeah. What springs to mind?
Okay, well, we've already spoken about Winter Tour 74.
That would be a favourite.
That's got to be up there. Not because it was the first one I bought, but just because of the material, the recording, the packaging.
I know the guy who put it out, by the way.
Do you?
Yes.
I will have a chat about that.
Yes. I'd like to do an interview with him at some point.
Yeah.
He's had...
I mean, Derek, I guess, put you onto him, did he?
No, it was a Facebook moment of all things.
Oh, really?
I found a friend of his, then made the link because
Right.
I'd done the Mick episode.
Yeah.
So I kind of knew part of the story, made the link, we got talking, and he's still got quite a few of his tapes.
Wow. Has he got that?
Yes, he has.
Has he got the full gig?
Yes, he has.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well done you.
Somebody needs to put that one out, don't they?
Yeah. That's great work.
That would be quite the coup if that came out. Various other things from back then as well. I mean, there was a lot of taping that went on in the Midlands, so things like the Stones and things like that for people who are interested in other bands. Jethro Tull.
Really?
So we had quite a run.
Jethro Tull fan.
Yeah. With transferring and preserving those last year. So yeah.
Have they circulated?
No. Not ready for that. But you know, once a bootlegger, always a bootlegger.
Yeah.
It's his call.
Yeah.
And he hasn't
So
made a
he's
decision
hanging
yet.
on to them.
Yeah.
Right.
It's up to him if he'd like to do it.
Yeah.
I've suggested that there might be somebody who would be a good person to assist with that.
Yeah.
When the moment arises.
Yeah. Interesting.
Awaiting an answer on that. And I need to go and visit because I'd like to do a podcast episode with him as well.
Yeah,
quite interesting to get his recollections and stories.
Yeah.
He wasn't the taper,
Right.
but he was the person who ended up with the tapes.
So the tapes.
Put it out.
Wow, I'm glad that they exist. I really am. I'm glad that they exist.
Yeah, it's amazing what still is unearthed
nowadays.
nowadays.
Well, it's credit to you.
A little bit of luck and research and
if you don't
being
ask,
positive.
You don't get, do you?
Yeah, it's always about being positive.
Yeah.
And there's many people out there who are happy to assist if you're positive, and things turn up surprisingly regularly. So your 5 bootlegs.
Top 5, right? Well,
Yeah, so
like I said, I've got to start with British Winter Tour 74.
Yeah.
Tour 72.
Yeah, you grab that one.
It's got to be on there. Also, you know, I never got to replace that copy of Tour 74, not for decades. And the next time I went in there pestering them if they got any more in stock, they had a copy of the Screaming Abdab Wizardo album, and so I bought that because it had the same 3 tracks on it. That's got to be up there because I really loved that as well. The sound quality was a bit thinner.
Yeah, it was a copy, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't a copy of something.
No, it wasn't a copy of the British Winter Tour one.
No, but something else?
No, yeah, it was a different recording.
Yeah.
And it was a bit thinner, more trebly. But at the same time, it actually sounded more like what I'd heard at Wembley than...
your experience.
Yeah, than British Winter Tour, which was Stoke. Trentham Hall, I think.
Trentham Gardens. Yeah.
So yeah, it actually did sound exactly like it sounded when I was there. I mean, Jon Wizardo said to me, you know, he thought the recording was dreadful, but everybody was so desperate to hear this new stuff that he put it out anyway.
Yeah.
But on my stereo, it sounded just fine, you know, and I was happy to get those songs back. So that's probably up there.
So you've got 3 so far that you've grabbed.
Another one that really impressed me at the time was... I mean, I'd say Pictures of Pink Floyd just because it's such an interesting gig.
Yeah.
But I never got to own a copy of that until the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. You've got an original now, have you?
Yeah.
Of both parts?
Yeah, both parts. So I sort of want to include that for the music on it, but I didn't actually own it. Crackers, when I finally got a copy, I wasn't that impressed with it. It was way too fast, way too fast. So even though Bernard White recommended that to me, when I finally got a copy, which was one of the box set ones, quality wasn't as good as I was expecting it to be, and it was, you know, for me, it was so obviously sped up that I just didn't get any enjoyment out of it. The other big ones, wow, I'd say Tour 73 I really enjoyed because of the extended Fat Old Son on it and the fantastic sound quality, of course. I think that one goes under the radar a bit because it's a great sounding boot.
Yeah,
looks very nice on the shelf next to Tour 72, and yeah, I mean, I love that version of Fat Old Son. You know, I'll go over 5. Another highlight for me was the the early tours bootleg with a robot on the cover.
Ah, yes. I was talking about that the other day with Ray Steig in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
And I put it to him that Barrett's Revenge was better than early tours. Right. And he said, no, early tours is best. Because obviously that came out first, and then Barrett's Revenge, I think, was 76 or something like that.
Yeah.
So you'd think not so good. And that's a Nitz Brothers recording, isn't it?
Yes.
From Amsterdam.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to having a listen to that one at some point properly.
It's a good boot. It really is. And it's got...
And it's stereo. Yeah. Which is not common. Obviously, Tour 72 is
there
in
is
your
actually
list.
A recording. It's incomplete, but there is a recording from Amsterdam Boss that is better sound quality. I can't remember which boot it came out on, but...
Yeah, there's a recorder 3. Yeah, it's just got Cymbeline and Careful With That Axe usually on it, hasn't it?
Really good quality.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with, by bootleg standards, there's nothing wrong with early tours, but that's even better. But yeah, that was the first time I got to hear Embryo in its extended form as well, you know, which I thought was great. So, I mean, this was it, you know, Floyd had such a history of changing things as an improvisation that they were just the ideal band for a fan of theirs to delve into bootlegs, because there was so much that didn't make it through their QC, as it were, you know.
So there's 2 interesting themes to your list that you've just given me there. First of all, they're all old bootlegs.
Yeah.
You've not named anything from the recent years.
No.
And secondly, for the most part, they are recordings that aren't available on tape. They only came out on vinyl.
Yeah. That's interesting.
And that is one of the things that I think people often overlook, is that some of those things are only available because somebody decided back in the day to press it to vinyl, which was a good archival method, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that meant that, you know, if it were a tape world thing, they'd all be first gens, wouldn't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why they frequently sound better than the guy in the shop warned you. Yeah. When he said you couldn't have your money back if you didn't like it.
Yeah.
But they remain 50 years on.
The go-to source.
The best copy.
Yeah,
you know, even something like Crackers.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting one in point, isn't it? Because that's the stereo one. And in your book...
M502's one as well, isn't it? The spread legs cover.
Yeah, that's another mix recording. Yeah. And that's a stereo.
Yeah.
Recording as well.
Yeah.
Would you have that one? Are you throwing that one on in your? Are you putting
that
one in the boat for the desert island?
Yeah, I think you'd have to include that one.
Yeah.
A full German gig, orchestra on Adam Hartmother.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to put that one in there. I think it's great bootleg. Great bootleg. When I finally got a copy, it was a later pressing and it was badly distorted in the loud passages. But I've got the first pressing now and it's fine. You know, it's a really good bootleg. Yeah,
would you have Omayad as well? Would you get Omayad as well? Would that be one that you?
Yeah, I've got.
I was thinking of that when you said later pressings, because there's been a lot of those, haven't there? And I learnt the other day that you need to get a colour pressing, one of the early ones, because when they turned it to black pressings, that's usually a sign in the case of that particular release, that they're not so
good. There's 2 different matrix numbers as well, so if you follow the original one, that should lead you to, the better pressings. But yeah, colour vinyl ones. Midas Touch is another one, because I couldn't find a copy of Omar. I read about it in Hot Wax and thought, oh God, I've got to have that. Fingal's Cave, what on earth is that?
Yeah.
Rain in the Country. And I thought, I've got to have that one. And I just could not find a copy of it. And again, a Wizardo boot came up, Midas Touch, where he'd actually copied Omar very nicely. And he'd put in this Interstellar Overdrive from Rome 68, which I've still got the original reel-to-reel from him. And I thought that was such a good version. I loved it, especially the keyboard work on it. So I think Midas Touch was missing possibly one of the Zabriskie Point tracks from On My Yard, I'm not sure. Right. But it was still a great bootleg in its own right. It was, I mean, it even had a studio version of Point Me at the Sky on it, but I didn't own a copy of that back in the day. You know, it wasn't easy to find particularly, so I was quite happy to have that on vinyl as well. So yeah, I mean, there's just so many of them that were actually quite important, you know, historically.
Vital.
Yeah.
So
well, for a
fan or scholar of
absolutely
Pink Floyd,
vital,
you need those things. You know, very frequently heavy vinyl, thick vinyl.
Yeah, which they were. Yeah.
Often pretty innovative artwork on the cover.
Yeah.
M502 being an outstanding example.
Yeah.
You found the artist for that, I think, didn't you?
Yeah.
Back in 2019.
Is that when it was? So you're better at archiving than I am. But
I have to do my research for these episodes.
I just found him on YouTube in the comments section. And
he was happy to talk.
Yeah, luckily. He just left a comment. I was the artist that did that, so I just got in touch with him and did a little brief interview with him for that entry on the Floyd Boots site. But
talking of the Floyd Boots site, is that a representation of lots of people's knowledge or your knowledge?
No,
it's more other people's knowledge than yours.
Credit for that.
Yeah. Are there a series of people who know a lot more than others who are the main contributors to that site? Or is it quite well spread?
No, not really. I mean, there are people. I mean, there are very knowledgeable people out there. And so obviously some have contributed more than others because they've got more knowledge.
Been in the business of collecting the LPs for much longer, for example.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't want to name names because I don't want to leave anybody out, and because that would upset someone. But the people, they know who they are anyway, the people that have helped me with it. But no, it wasn't based on my knowledge. It was based on my love of bootlegs. And I was in a car crash in 2003 and found myself in a wheelchair for a couple of years with nothing to do. But I was already into computers, you know, and I thought, I'm going to write a book on them because the information that's out there, like Hot Wax, is very fragmented. And with the internet, you know, getting into its stride, there was more information, much more information out there if you bothered to look for it and compile it. So I thought, I'm going to write a book, you know, I'm going to do a book and with all the Floyd entries that I can find, releases.
There was the Andreas Krasker book at that point. Did you have that one?
No, I didn't even know about that at the time.
Oh, I was going to say, that would have...
Yeah, it would have
that would have given you quite a head start.
Yeah. Originally I didn't know about it. I did later on. I've got a copy now. But no, I didn't really rely on that. It was more heavy long-term collectors like Ray Steig. I mean, he put one out as well. He put a book out, impossible to find. But yeah, so no, there's no credit to me at all. But I did think of writing a book, and then I got halfway through and I thought, why not just, you know, I was stuck in this bloody wheelchair and I thought, why not just put it on a website and do it for free, you know? And like I said, it wasn't something that I'd want to put my name to claim credit for, because the information came from a variety of people, not just me. So I thought, no, I'm going to build a website instead. So I learned, and it was good for me. So I learned how to construct a website from scratch, pretty much. And it kept me out of trouble, you know, while I was getting better.
683,000 visitors later.
Is it?
Yeah, that's what the counter says on the homepage when I had a look the other day.
Right. Well, there's more than that then, because we've been through about 4 counters, I think.
Oh.
So
there is worldwide fascination in this, isn't there?
Yeah. Well, you know, bootlegs are fascinating. They just are. And
it's a great resource.
Yeah. Well, it's not been updated for a couple of years due to my own personal circumstances, but it's not been abandoned. I mean, I will get back to it. There's several things I need to get back to. And
has anybody ever suggested changing it or anything like that? For example, putting values of records on or anything like that?
If you did that, it would be a full-time job for somebody.
It would be, wouldn't it?
It's not feasible.
It just popped into my head, so I thought I'd ask that.
Yeah, it's just not feasible. And at the end of the day, you know, I've seen records change hands for such varying sums, because it's really a record is worth what somebody's prepared to pay for it.
Absolutely.
You know, if you've got a couple of guys with very, very deep pockets who want to put a collection together, they could almost single-handedly push the market value up, you know.
And that happens in some aspects of the Pink Floyd market.
Yeah.
It happens with posters, for example, and the like, where there's a very small number of people with the deepest pockets, and I think they go into battle with one another every time something comes up.
And so it gets out of hand, and then everyone assumes that's the value of that. But it isn't necessarily.
No.
If one of them has a heart attack, then it's back that, you know, you can knock 4/5 off the value of the thing.
Fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah, so... Yeah, valuing it is just a minefield that I wouldn't want to go near, really.
Does everybody assume you've got everything on the website as well?
They used to.
Yeah.
But
you've made it clear that you haven't.
Yeah, and I mean, I've got no copies of those original boots that I've been talking about. I've had to re-buy them all. First pressings, you know, I made sure that I got what I used to own, but various times, you know, in your life, especially if you've got to raise money, and especially if you're a record dealer, because it's so easy for you to sell things and convert them into cash. So, I sort of gave up on bootlegs a bit in the 80s when CDs came out. I thought, wow, this wonderful new format, you know, really fell for it, load of nonsense. And it was later on, when I was a bit more stable as well, I thought, I'm going to rebuy all these. I loved owning them. I want them back, you know. And I want all the ones, you know, that I couldn't afford a few years back. I want them as well. So my collection now is bigger than it's ever been.
Now you've got a bloody good turntable, fantastic speakers, a Chinese tube amp.
I know. I tell you, those tube amps are something else for the money. For the money.
And the sort of property that's got some nice thick walls in it so that it can take it.
They've got extra soundproofing on that wall there.
Oh, they put some in, have they?
Yeah. I think they were worried about me hearing them. Now they're worried the other way around.
Naturally.
Especially with 2 subwoofers parked up against it. But,
it's all about
they're very good. They're very good.
So let's talk a little bit about your book.
The book, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the book was fabulous to do. It was so much fun. And that started because I'd done this interview with William Stout.
The artist.
The artist, yeah. He was great, you know, really helpful. And I thought, you know, to keep the site interesting, I want to interview a few more people. And I thought of Ken Douglas, the trademark quality guy, but he'd already written in some journals I thought, well, he's telling his own story, you know, he's not necessarily going to want me to interview him, and he might not really, you know, because he prefaced those journals with, it could have happened this way, maybe it did. And I thought he's not going to be open to talking too widely about that. Mm. So I thought, well, if not him, then who? And the other trademark quality guy seemed to have been out the loop forever, Dub Taylor. Mm. So that left Wizardo, really. And the guy behind CBM, David D, we'll call him, and Vicky Vinyl, he was Wizardo's girlfriend originally. So yeah, they were sort of on my shortlist, and I knew Wizardo's real surname, which was unusual.
Yes.
So I thought, he can't be that hard to find, and he'd never popped his head above the parapet ever, you know.
Yeah. I
thought he'd be a really good guy to...
A coup.
Yeah, a coup, exactly. And I couldn't find him. And I looked for a while and I could not find him. Mm. And then a guy called Colin Reaver, who's a young lad, who was a member of the group and messaged me fairly frequently. Mm. I think he's known as James Floyd in the group.
Oh, yeah.
He got in touch with me and said, "Did you know Jon Wizardo's dead?"
Oh.
And I said, "No." I said, "How do you know?" He said, "Well, I went on YouTube and he posted a video on there, but he's told me that he's now dead," which sort of thought, this sounds a bit odd. Mm-hmm. So I went and had a look, and what had happened, Colin had written to him saying, basically, "Are you Jon Wizardo?" Because he knew his real name as well. And he came back and said, "No, Jon Wizardo died in a incident at a vinyl pressing plant involving a stepladder and a whatever."
I remember reading this in the book.
Yeah. Yes. And apparently there's bits of him pressed into a Paul McCartney bootleg, which is a very funny answer, but Colin, bless him, believed it.
He bought it?
Yeah, he bought it.
Oh.
So he wrote to me, and I said, give me the link, let me see it, you know. And Wizardo had only just written that. So I said, "No, Colin, that's him. How could, if it isn't him, how could he know any of that stuff that he's just written to you?" Mm. So I quickly put a comment on there that just said, "Jon Wizardo is a modern day counterculture hero, whether he realises it or not. And it would be great to do an interview with him." Mm. So if you want to email me, I put my email address on it, and we could take it further. And almost immediately he emailed me back and said, "Yeah, if I can help with anything, I will."
Fantastic.
So credit to Colin.
Yes. He got the ball rolling.
He did, absolutely. He dug him out, you know, which I'd given up on at that point. So that was it. So anyway, very quickly we're exchanging so many emails, and I got to know him, and he's talked about our wives and what have you, and where we live. They're real Anglophiles, so they were really interested in pictures from especially countryside and that. Really into their Sherlock Holmes and, you know.
Oh, great. It's quite a lot older than you, though, I imagine.
Yeah, he's about, I think he's about 6-7 years older than me. It's not that much.
I thought
he started really young.
Of course, yeah, that's in the book as well.
Yeah. He started really young.
Yeah.
So he's not that much older than me. But anyway, we got on so well, and we'd write about loads of stuff, not just bootlegs, you know. But I'd ask him lots and lots of questions, but he'd also send me sort of journal type essays. And so I said to him, well, look, why don't we split this item into two, and you write a journal, and then I'll formally question you afterwards on more specific details, more nerdy details, if you like.
Yeah.
But you paint a picture of the scene. And that's what we did, and we put it on Floyd Boots. And when it went up, I mean, we were both pleased with it, but couldn't help feeling like there's a book in this. You know, he's got so much more that he could tell.
I remember that article and thinking,
it was huge.
I thought the same. I thought, it's wasted here.
Yeah.
A corner of the internet.
And much of the publisher's annoyance, I refused to take it down when the book came out, because I wanted some of it just to be out there. And it's good for the site as well.
And it's an advert for the book.
Yeah, and it is. It's a trailer
you
for
should
the
probably
book.
put on the end of the article if you want to.
Yeah, I should do.
You should say if you want to read some more,
Yeah.
go to
Yeah.
Be Smart Publishing Company.
Yeah, I should add that.
Talk
now,
to
really.
Charles Betterham's.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, so we just thought, well, no, there is a book in it, you know. So start giving me a few more stories, and then we'll finish it off with a discography that I'll research, because, you know, John put them out there, but he didn't keep any paperwork, and it was 50 years ago plus.
Not in his interest to keep paperwork,
No,
because
no.
somebody might come along and find it, and it might be the FBI or whoever.
Yeah, exactly. He says that in the book, you know. But it just makes it difficult when you try and go back into that. And but I took that one on, and it was good fun to do. It was a lot of work, you know, trying to find every variation, because he was quite a prolific guy.
But there are clear themes, aren't there, with the artwork and the approach and so on.
Yeah.
Which one of the fascinating things for me was seeing the LPs put out for other bands, and how similar they are to the Pink Floyd ones that I feel so familiar with.
Yeah.
There's quite
it was a big task to do that, but I just felt it should be a writing this, what was on the website, and some extras, you know, should be on paper. So we did it, and it was so much fun.
So you gathered together all the material. Did you have the publisher at that point, or did you then go and find a publisher?
I went to Cherry Red.
Oh, me too. Because of course they did my first book that I wrote with Nick Hodges around the same time as Glenn Povey and Ian Russell put out their book.
Yeah.
We came out very soon after that. And Cherry Red were our publishers. So when I wanted to do the BBC book, went back to Cherry Red, and they said, oh yeah, we're up for that. And
great.
All seemed good, gave me a letter that I could take to the BBC and the like. But then when it actually came to pulling it together, they disappeared on me, unfortunately. So I was very happy to find Charles, who was great to work with, and we produced a better product than we would have done had I have stuck with Cherry Red. Yeah,
well, I went to Cherry Red, and
did you know them already? Did you
no,
know,
but I knew.
You didn't know Ian McNabb or anybody like that? Yeah.
Well, Ian McNabb, he was the singer in a band, wasn't he?
No, Ian McNabb.
Oh, McNabb.
Yeah.
Anyway, I went to them and proposed this book to them, and they said, we think it's a fascinating subject, but we're more interested in books about single artists rather than a whole genre of subsection of record collecting. You know. So they turned it down. But I didn't care, because we were thinking of self-publishing anyway, and I'd seen the bootleg book that Charles had put out, so it just made sense to approach him. And I thought, if he doesn't go for it, then I'll do it.
Yeah,
I'll self-publish it. Would have been a lot more work, of course, but I was prepared to do that because I really wanted that book out there, and so did John.
Beautifully designed book, I think.
Yeah. Well, I did. Charles did the layout, the setup of all the pages in it.
Yeah.
I did the front cover, or he did it to my instructions.
Yeah.
And we had to mess around with the font size a bit to get it looking.
Yeah.
What I thought was.
Did you have to edit your work down or up? So it's all gone in as was.
Everything that we wanted to go in there went in there.
Phil and I, for our BBC book, we had to trim it a little bit because there was a bit too much in places. And then there was some stuff that we had to drop as well. So the original text would have had all of the copies of the Radio Times in and things like that.
Yeah.
So you have to be a bit wary of things like that. So
there was a few things that
fair edit
went in there that Charles didn't really want to go in there, like a picture of one of the dogs, for example.
Oh yeah, in the credits section.
Yeah, I had to argue that one with him, but on the whole, he was great. He was easy to work with, really.
Yeah. How many were printed?
1,000.
There were different versions, weren't there?
3 different versions.
Are some still available if anybody listening to this wants
possibly
to pick up a copy?
You'd have to talk to Charles about that.
Or check out his
I
website.
know the limited edition ones went straight away, but pretty much. But the regular copies, which is the whole book, it's just, you just don't get a fancy box and a tote bag with it, and a signed insert, by me and John. But it's the whole book. It's not expensive. There might be some.
He tells his story really well in there, John,
great.
doesn't he?
He's great.
And it's for those who are not just interested in Pink Floyd. It's just that whole scene. I love the story about the deputy sheriff.
Yeah. Orange County Sheriff.
Yeah. And the guy on the stall next door coming to his aid.
Yeah. I think it's great. I mean, and he kept so many pictures and so much memorabilia, which he sent to me, I mean, he was so generous with me.
And a lot of effort went into that vinyl and getting the EQ just right and so on.
Yeah. Well, he had a really professional reel-to-reel that Vicky Vinyl bought him, apparently. And he mastered hundreds of bootlegs on it, he told me.
One of those pictures looks like, quite a proper studio, doesn't it? Set up. That attention to detail.
Well, he sent me that machine. I've got it out there.
Yeah.
He sent me his Sony Walkman Pro that he used for recording, a shotgun mic that he used, which is amazing. He was so generous. He sent me the briefcase with all of his photographs, letters and paperwork in it that was a gold mine.
It's quite the legacy, isn't it?
Yeah, massive. It was all in storage. And he sent me every tape that he had. So, still in his storage unit.
That must feel quite a responsibility to have all of that.
Yeah, it is. It is. But I'm quite happy. I don't, didn't want it thrown out or anything, and he didn't want to hang on to it because he was clearing his storage unit.
So you're the safekeeper.
Yeah, I'm the safekeeper of it. But yeah, it was like a real privilege to go through that stuff. Amazing stuff in there. Even personal letters between Vicky Vinyl and John. And loads of pictures. There was even a unused T-Rex bootleg insert in there that never got released, but they designed the insert for. But yeah, I mean, as great as all that stuff was, it was getting to know him that was the great part, and his wife. He was lovely.
And you eventually went out there.
Yeah, I went out there last October, about a month after the book came out, I think. And it was just wonderful. I'd never been there before, and he said, "What do you want to do?" And I where do you want to visit? And I said, "Well, I would like to see that Hollywood sign in the hills."
Yeah.
Because he lives about just under an hour out of LA, and I want to go to Laurel Canyon, where Zappa and the Doors and Mama Cass lived, and various other people. So we did that one day. The rest of the time, we went to a few shops looking for bootlegs, which was great fun.
Yeah. Is he still interested in that?
Yeah, he's really into it. I mean, he's not active in it, but he still loves the idea of boots. He's just in love with the whole idea. So
you made quite a good pair.
Yeah, we were great.
I mean, we got
decades. On so well. Got on really, really well. I went with my cousin and we booked a hotel pretty close to where he lives. And he'd come and pick us up every morning, and we'd spend the day together, and then drop us off later in the the evening. And we did that for a week. And the last night, was amazing because he'd arranged a sort of get-together, stroke party or whatever you want to call it, of Vicky Vinyl, Jim Washburn, who was the guy that she released her first bootleg with, who was her ex-boyfriend before she met John. So it was Vicky Vinyl, Jim Washburn, Ken Douglas from Trademark Equality, and his wife, and John himself. So there were three
key
important
players,
figures there. So it was lovely to be able to sit at a table, and I didn't really talk shop with any of them because I thought the last thing they're going to want is me trying to interview them. You know, it's meant to be a social gathering, so we'll keep it that way.
Yeah.
So but Vicky Vinyl, bless her, she emptied a load of boots out of her garage and put them in her front room just for me to have a look through. And she had a couple of killer rare items in there. But she didn't want to sell them. She said they're
personal copies, are they?
Yeah, she said I'd like to keep them because of nostalgia, and she doesn't need any money, I don't think, and so I didn't try and buy anything off of her. But she did have one that I've been after for a long time, and it's so hard. I think there's about 5 known copies of it, and she had an unplayed copy of it there, which is a Floyd bootleg. Do
you remember which one?
Which, if you look on Floyd Boots, the Take Linda Surfing bootleg. The rarest pressing is the first pressing was on black vinyl with a blue printed label that looks hand drawn, of course, but it's printed. But the second pressing was on multicolour vinyl, and the first few of them, they obviously used what was left over of those labels, but they're almost impossible to find a copy of it. And honestly, it's the number one bootleg on my wants list.
And you've seen it,
and I've held it, and I couldn't prize it away from her, and I didn't want to press her on it. And
do you know what? There's an amazing synergy there, isn't there? Because did you say you went last year?
Yeah.
That's 50 years ago since you were holding that bootleg in your hand of Winter Tour 74, and your teacher dropped it and broke it.
Yeah.
And you got 2 moments, one at the beginning, and one so much more recently, and then you've got all of that life experience in between, haven't you?
Yeah.
It's the life of this band, which is basically...
It's what I said, it's amazing how the love of one band can actually influence so much in your life.
So much of that life experience, isn't there? So all of your earnings that you've done over those years, all the pleasure that you've got from the website and the Facebook group, and all of that support that you had, and all of that interest that you had in your life and your well-being and things like that as well.
Yeah.
And then you get to travel to America.
I know. So
spend time with these fascinating people.
Absolutely.
That's the journey that this series is all about, is that where people like you have had just such extraordinary experiences through a band. And, your concert going is important, but it's all of this other stuff that goes with it that wouldn't otherwise have happened, would it?
No.
If you'd have not had that
feeling
of being compelled.
If I hadn't bought that magazine on that tube platform, God knows what I'd be doing now. Yeah. Or the life that I'd have lived, but it completely changed the course of it. Yeah.
Would have been much plainer, wouldn't it? Yet you've had all of these fascinating experiences through that association and that attachment to the band.
Yeah. And and I've got to live it. It's not like I'm completely obsessive about it. Like you could say, for example, Bernard White was very obsessive about Barrett.
Syd. Yeah.
And it seemed to me to sort of dominate most of his waking time, you know. And it's certainly never been like that with me. I've lived my own life, but the influence that it's put on it is
there's quite
big
remarkable pages in the book of your life, aren't there? Yeah.
Yes, it's been a lot of fun. It's hard to imagine it any other way, really. But I guess, but that anybody maybe could say that as well. There are just key moments where everything swivels and goes in one direction. But yeah, in my case, it just happened to be around stuff to do with Pink Floyd that did it.
And it's still relevant now, isn't it?
Yeah.
And bootleg vinyl's still going out now, isn't it? And
it is.
There's still some interesting releases in recent years.
There are. I mean, you said that the ones that I mentioned were all vintage bootlegs. Well, that was kind of my era. But there's very good stuff coming out.
Look, we had the San Diego one this year, haven't we?
I've not come across that because I've been out of the loop. But,
there's one that's surfaced from the 18th of October 1970.
Right, is that a fresh recording of it?
Fresh recording,
right.
It never previously available, outdoor concert. You might like it because we've had this little soundtrack to this conversation from time to time. Not the flies. There was a fly and a wasp early on, which might come out in the recording, but you can hear a dog barking on it.
Oh, wow.
And I believe it's the only Pink Floyd bootleg that you can clearly hear a dog barking at an outdoor concert. So I think you need to lay your hands on that one somehow or another. So that was out on vinyl earlier this year. And the Japanese Sigma label then took the vinyl and played around with it, and they put it out on CD now, so it's doing the rounds in both formats, and it's created a lot of interest. And these things, they come out after a long time. So some people had that recording about at least a decade ago.
Right.
And then it finally surfaces in Italy, and people can't believe it. First of all, they think, it must be wrong.
Yeah.
And yet again,
they come up,
like happens over the decades, it turns out to be a gem.
Yeah.
And
well,
very interesting.
Look, apart from new discoveries, I mean, because of technology, and Wizardo, as we said, he's not been active in this field for 50 years, but he is a big Pink Floyd fan. Beatles and Floyd are his thing, and he was using the software that Peter Jackson had developed for the Let It Be thing. And he sent me, I don't know if I've still got it somewhere. Well, I will. It'll be on my computer, but I don't know where I'd find it. But he sent me a piece that he'd been messing around with, and he'd taken a mono recording of the Floyd. I can't remember which one it was now, early one. And he singled out all the instruments and then remixed it in stereo, and it sounded really good.
Yeah.
You had the keyboards panning around where they they should be, and the guitar, and it was really interesting that and I thought, God, there's so many recordings now that have been done to death, but actually you could really do a job on some of the mono stuff.
Chance for fresh life into it, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's imperfect, I find, at the moment, but it's getting there.
Yeah. Well, I was pretty impressed with what he sent me, and that would have been about 18 months ago, So,
is there anything ahead for you in your mind, Floyd-wise?
Floyd-wise,
keeping the site going.
Yeah,
keeping the Facebook group going.
Badly needs an update, and I need to be more involved in the group. Most of the people that know me know that my wife died a couple of years ago, and it was it was difficult for me to deal with. And it's taken me until now really to get my shit together and stop moping around.
Well, the site's looked after.
The
site's still relevant.
Yeah,
and Facebook's still very relevant.
Yeah, well, they're great people on there. And
there's such
they're
energy
going to talk
for
to each other whether I'm there or not.
It's such a positive place as well. I don't know if you're deleting the negative stuff, but I find it positive, and the sense of celebration when somebody's got something new, and the encouragement.
It's a great group. It's really positive. I mean, there has been a bit of negativity on there, pointed at me often, but those people tend to leave and form their own little factions and leave us alone. And I think it's a happy little group. I mean, it's rare that any of us, Ray Steeg's moderator, Harlan, myself, it's pretty rare that we have to step in and, you know, because someone's misbehaving. I mean, it group pretty much runs itself. There's brilliant collectors on there that love posting what they pick up and new releases, and it's a healthy group.
I think we've covered just about everything.
Yeah.
Was there anything that you thought we might talk about that hasn't come up? Anything spring to mind? Or I'll press that stop button.
Yeah. The thing I mentioned earlier about Roger Waters' bass, I thought was quite an interesting story.
Tell me that. Yes, go on. Roger Waters' bass.
I think it was the late 80s or very early 90s. And I always played precision basses, like, you know, which is what Roger Waters plays. Because of him, probably, you know. But anyway, people into guitars know that the earlier Fenders are a lot better than the later ones. And I let it be known to the local music shop that I was looking for a pre-1965 precision bass, which they didn't have. But they said, we'll keep an eye out and we'll let you know. And then I got a phone call that this very famous bass guitar shop in South London, that I won't mention, had 2 Roger Waters basses, and you know, and they're available.
How did they get those?
Right, well, I phoned them up and they said, yeah, we've had them. Some charity or whatever approached Roger Waters and asked if he would donate a bass guitar for a charity auction. And he sent one of his roadies or minions or whoever to go to his magic bass guitar cupboard, wherever that might be.
Yes.
And pick what was, I think it was supposed to be a mid-80s, really boring bass that he'd probably been given himself by a company, in the hope that he'd play it, you know, a bit like the way McCartney got his Rickenbacker. And you know, they give it away free, these things, because it's an endorsement if the guy likes it. So he sent him in the cupboard for that, but while he was in there, the guy stole his 67 Rickenbacker and the Sunburst bass that he used on Live at Pompeii, and sold them to this place in South London.
Oh.
So I rang them up and they said, yes, we've got them. Obviously, we've got no provenance. We can't prove it to you because they've been stolen.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, they said to me, the Rickenbacker's gone already, but we've still got the Sunburst Precision. They said there's some cigarette burns in the headstock.
Perfect.
Which there would be.
There would be, being Roger.
Provenance.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I'm going to buy it because...
It's a one-off.
Yeah, it's a one-off, and, you know, Live at Pompeii, there's some pretty large shots of that bass that you can compare the grain to, or the pattern on the top
I'm
shelf.
picturing Roger's hand now.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And I thought, I've got to have it. So I said, how much is it? I said, it's 1,000. Well, 1,000 was quite a lot at that point for what wasn't a pre-65. Fenders are worth a lot of money when they're that old. So I'd say this was more than double its usual price. But they're going to come from it, well, we haven't got any provenance, so, you know, whoever's buying it's going to have to trust us on it. And so, yeah, the price was, I guess, reasonable. At the time I thought, well, it's a little bit pricey, but, you know, it's Roger Waters' bass. So I said, I'll have it. And then they said to me, well, actually, someone's got first refusal on it.
Oh.
But if they don't take it, then it's yours. And, of course, they took it. So I didn't get the chance to
I was just
own it.
about to say, come on, let's go and have a look.
Yeah, I know. I've got about four Precisions here, but I haven't got that one. And
But that's stolen goods, though, isn't it?
It is.
So whoever's got that,
yeah.
I was picturing in my mind, I want a photo of you with the bass, but you won't want a picture of you with the bass if it's stolen, would you? And that's what some...
Personally, I wouldn't care.
You would have done it.
Too much time has passed.
Yes. But somebody else has got something very
someone's got
valuable
it,
there.
and they've got to keep quiet about it. They've got it. But that shop was very open about the fact that they were stolen. So it's not as if somebody bought it and didn't realise, you know. But yeah, I just thought it was a little Floyd-related story that was
interesting. Very interesting indeed.
The other one was, because I've never really spoken to any of them, but I did go to the premiere of The Wall, which I won tickets for again in the Sun newspaper. And I think they had 3 pairs of tickets.
Yeah.
And I won a pair of them. I can't remember what the question was now, but I won a pair. I mean, within 10 minutes of reading the morning paper, I had mine in the letterbox, you know. And I won the tickets. I had no idea what a film premiere was like or what happened there. I wasn't expecting anything other than probably a very nice cinema.
Yeah.
And to go and watch the film.
Was it Leicester Square?
Yeah, it was. And so I went there with my girlfriend at the time, who was later my wife, and it was all barricaded off, and there was crowds of people there. I thought, Jesus, what have I walked into here? And we were looking very smart. We dressed up for it. You know, I had a sort of red paisley shirt on and whatever. And I thought, well, we look quite cool here. We'll be all right, you know. And until I gave the ticket, and then somebody shouted, "Who are you?" over the barrier. I thought, this burst my bubble a little bit. But anyway, we went in there, and yeah, there was like a book for sale there, which I bought, the book of the film. And we went and started watching the film, and about halfway through it, I thought, I need to go for a piss. And so I got up and went out, and the only people standing in the foyer were Roger Waters and Pete Townshend talking to each other. And I clocked them and went back in, and I said to my girlfriend, "Wow, Roger Waters is out in the foyer talking to Pete Townshend, you know. I'm going to get his autograph at the end of the film." She said, "No, go and do it now, because he'd probably be gone otherwise." Yeah. So I went out there, and they're face to face talking to each other, and completely ignored me. I mean, I was standing at their side 3 or 4 minutes while they're talking. I was standing there with the book, trying to get the book signed. Yeah. And they just completely blanked me. And in the end, I actually had to tap Roger Waters on the shoulder to get his attention, even though he knew I was there. Yeah. So I wasn't impressed. And I said, "Would you sign the book for me?" Pete Townshend was giving me daggers because I wasn't interested in his autograph at all. No. And I thought, I'm not getting my book signed by anybody other than Roger Waters. And he said, "Well, have you got a pen?" I didn't have a pen. You know, I wasn't expecting anybody to be there. No. So I dashed off to this old security guard and blagged the pen off of him and dashed back again and got him to sign it, which he did. Yeah. And I sort of said, "I'm really enjoying the film, you know, I think it's really good." And he just said, "Oh yeah," because you could hear the soundtrack from the foyer. And he said, "Yeah, I like this bit, I think I'll just go in and watch it." But it really was just getting rid of me, you know. Yeah. And, but yeah, I got my book signed by him, and then when it had all finished, the place filled up with celebrities, you know, everyone seemed to be there. Geldof, Sting, Bananarama, you know, loads of celebrities.
But you got your one-to-one
I didn't care. My girlfriend had like a thing they gave you when you walked in, and she was getting it signed by all the celebrities. I wasn't interested in that. And I was just propped up against the door drinking a post-film beer, I think. And then the door opened, I nearly fell through it, and it was Dave Gilmour coming through the door.
I was going to ask, were any others there?
With this white linen suit on. And I said, "Oh, I'm sorry to jump on you so quickly, but could you sign that for me?" And he was really cool about it.
He signed your same book?
So he signed it. Yeah. And then he got surrounded by everybody else. I mean, I was just lucky to be standing where he came into the room. And then 5 minutes later, I could see another clamour of people around someone, and it was Nick Mason. And
you're on a roll by this point.
Yeah, so I got him to sign it. And while I was there, someone said to him, "Where's Rick Wright?" And he said, "Oh, he's on holiday somewhere."
Yeah.
So I thought, well, that's it. I've got the three that I need.
Point.
Yeah, he was long gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
do tell me you've still got that.
yeah, I have.
You've kept that. Good.
Of all the things that I've let go, I couldn't bring myself to part with it because it's too important.
I hope you got a will to pass it on to somebody. At
No,
some point
I
as
mean,
well.
I don't consider
You're going to
it
live forever.
Great value, but
No. I think people will be interested to hear about that.
But it's just nice to own when you've got it signed by them rather than buying a piece of memorabilia that's been pre-signed.
Yeah. And it's the memory.
Yeah, absolutely.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Another memory.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess there's been sort of various little things, but I think if you're that into somebody, the universe sends these little morsels your way, possibly.
It does. Opportunities.
Yeah.
And you've made the best of them all.
Well, I've certainly tried to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've told a fascinating story.
Well, good. I'll
thoroughly enjoyed it.
I'll show you some of what I've got left anyway.
Yeah, let's go and have a look, shall we?
Okay.
That'd be good. Let me press that stop button.